federal investigations.
Hi, everyone. We're just sitting here talking amongst ourselves. Have you ever wondered if buying programs or investing in programs to teach you the business, are they worth it? Well, right after this, we'll let you know. And obviously, it's just our opinion.
Which is way important.
To us, anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you
Just
for
ask me.
joining us on the Ask an Ugly Question segment of the Active Income Passive Wealth Show. I'm Bill Fairman. This is Wendy Sweet and Jonathan Davis. We are Carolina Capital Management. We make loans in the Southeast to real estate investors. If you are a borrower and you're interested in borrowing money, go to carolinahardmoney.com and click on the Apply Now tab. If you're an investor looking for passive returns, then click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff.
That's right.
I'm not going to say anything about last week's show on why I'm speaking properly now.
Take care of your words.
We were commenting on how green I look, and I'm wearing the color of what money used to be, right?
What's the color of a pixel now?
Yeah.
Just whatever you want it to be, I guess.
It depends.
Yeah.
The attorney answer.
Yeah.
That's right.
So there's been some interesting news in the economic front. You know what? Before we do that, let's do the breaking news.
That sounds good.
Okay, just so everyone in the audience knows, we know you can hear us when these things are going up. The graphics are going off in the back.
We just don't care.
It just doesn't bother us.
I
So
didn't know. I thought it was muted.
I thought it was too, but
Yeah.
the
no more dirty words. The breaking news is
stop it. The employment numbers. Leave me alone. The employment numbers they're higher than they expected them again. So that's something to keep an eye on. They've adjusted last week's employment and unemployment numbers up from what they showed last time too. So I'm not going to give you the actual details, but they're higher. That's not a good thing.
Now, are they judging that on people who are applying for unemployment, or
Yes.
people who are just claiming, hey, I don't have a job?
New unemployment claims.
Okay.
And then continuing claims. And then they use the unemployment rate, the rate of, the percentage of people that are unemployed, which kind of kills me. If you've given up and you stop looking, you're no longer on that list of unemployed.
Yeah. So what happens to that? So
Well, you get disappeared.
well, it skews the numbers of reality, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
always has.
So it's actually probably worse than what we're seeing.
That's called the labor participation rate. And they don't show that.
You don't participate, you don't get counted.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is, may or may not be like elections.
That's
But
right.
which is a little bit more crucial to us is the housing numbers. And I hate reading off a paper, but there's a lot of them here. So I'm going to start
And
here.
he'll never remember.
Housing starts for January decreased 6% from the previous month of
Now,
December.
is that world?
Housing starts nationally.
nationwide? Okay.
Yes. All these numbers are going to be national.
Okay.
Home building fell by 2.3% on a year-over-year basis. So
That's interesting. isn't it?
2.3% less than last year in January.
That's very interesting.
And here's part of the reason. Softwood lumber prices jumped 73%.
Yeah, that is insane.
What were we talking about yesterday? That
Steel prices?
yeah, it's the same price now to do a steel frame house as it is a wood frame.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
so you're looking for cheaper alternatives, which in this case, there isn't a cheaper alternative.
There's just one that's equivalent.
Now you can utilize steel, and it's probably a better product to build a house out of anyway.
Mhm.
except
Well,
for
why-
during this thunderstorm.
Why did wood go up in the first place? Wasn't it because those companies were shut down for a while?
Not necessarily. It's a combination of things.
It's
But part of it was that.
and then the other part is logistics, getting it to places.
Huh. Well,
We
the
also
trucking industry's doing still really well, right?
we all remember
Some.
we had 5 hurricanes in Louisiana this summer.
Yeah.
Is that where the wood's coming from?
Well,
or is
no,
that
that's
where
where
it's
the
cut?
demand for lumber. So
Okay.
there's a lot more demand, and it's a little bit harder to get. And for some reason, we only buy our wood from Canada instead of. Apparently, the U.S. doesn't have enough lumber for us.
We don't have any wood.
The lumber that we're cutting, we're shipping overseas, and the lumber we need, we have to bring in from Canada.
Yeah, somebody worked that one out for me.
Um,
Well, the reason I was asking is because you know how prices on things tend to go up. They go up fast, but they're really slow to come back down.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if they're not pushing it a little bit.
I mean, it's a commodity like anything else, and
Yeah.
there's a high demand for lumber right now. Again, a lot of it having to do with repairing a lot of the damage from the hurricane.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
you look at the problem with the recent cold in the deep south and in Texas specifically. While they're shut down and they're in an emergency situation, it's not like a hurricane. As soon as the temperature goes back up and then they fix the broken pipes, then
There'll be
they're
lots of
going to be
those.
fine. They're going to be back to normal really
Mhm.
quickly. A hurricane comes through and it takes a while before
Yeah,
things get
that's
back to
true.
normal.
Yeah.
Permits for future home building shot up 10.4%. So
That's so
they're
interesting.
they
That
they
the
still
starts
want to
are
build.
down.
They just kind of said, wait a minute, let's put the brakes on here. This stuff costs too much money.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find an alternative. Or maybe land prices are going up.
Well, I'll tell you
mean,
what
yeah.
we're happening locally is the permitting is taking so much longer. Once you put in for a permit, because everybody's working from home, it's just taking a lot longer to get permits done. I mean, it's significantly longer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, depends on the municipalities you're dealing with, obviously.
Well, I've seen
ones-
it in Rock Hill and Charlotte.
No, what I'm saying is the ones that are a little bit better online have a handle on it. The ones that don't.
Both of those are online.
Okay.
I'm gonna poke holes.
Do they have to come out and see anything?
Yes, they do.
Well, then you have to have employees from those municipalities physically go out.
Right.
And what's happened during the pandemic with all the businesses shutting down?
Everybody's working.
They have
home.
less money
Yeah.
to work with. So are the municipalities going to hire more people to keep up with demand, or are they just going to keep a hiring freeze because they're not getting the tax revenue?
That's a good point.
that
There's
they-
more demand, so they don't have the people to send out there.
Right. So
Yeah.
the business of building homes has picked up, but they're not covering the shortfall in personnel because they're not getting the income that they need
No,
to
that's a
keep them
good
going.
point, Bill.
But starts are down by 6%.
The starts, they've gotten the permits. They
Yeah,
just haven't
just
started
haven't
the project.
started.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Because
Permits
lumber's
are-
up 73%, and
It is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Sheetrock's way up too.
Yep. Everything has gone up because they keep printing dollars.
That's much easier to do.
Now, single family housing or single family home building, and this is obviously the largest share of the housing market, tumbled 12.2%. And this is a seasonally adjusted. So this is 12.2% for
Home
January.
Home
Going,
building.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I said.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I heard
So
the
that's
single family part.
1.16 million units this January versus last January. So it's gone down quite a bit. Single family starts increased for the eight straight months, and permits rose 3.8% up until January.
Mhm.
So this is the first time they've actually gone down. It's kind of interesting. Here's what's interesting. We know that people are demanding single family homes.
yes,
Yeah.
affordable single-family homes.
Much more. Yeah.
Starts for multifamily segment surged 17.1%.
See, that's just crazy. That
Well,
doesn't
because
make sense.
you have people out there touting that it's the golden age of multifamily right now.
Mhm.
Well, So the
yeah.
starts, and we're talking about 418,000 units.
Well, and you're talking about starts like new build multifamily, not like going in there and repositioning
Right.
some existing. Like it's gonna, and what on average they take, what, 2 years to 3 years to build?
Yep. And then they have building permits for multifamily soared 27.2%.
Gosh, that's just
And that's 612,000 units that they got permits for now that they haven't even started yet.
crazy.
Now, obviously, real estate is local, and listen, we have apartments going up everywhere around our areas because we have populations that are migrating here.
Sure.
And keep it coming, folks. We're happy.
And again, these are national numbers. I guarantee you in certain local markets, you're not getting a lot of starts and a lot of permits.
Yeah, you think there's a lot of starts in New York?
Or you're getting more than what we see.
Yeah,
here.
you're going to have a lot of, what do they call it? Vacancy rates in those other larger areas that people are leaving.
You're let's talk about that. You're getting migration from other places, and we're seeing into Texas, into the Southeast. We're seeing a lot of that migration, and then we're seeing these building starts. Now, people who are migrating, they can't find inventory to buy.
Right.
So most of them have to rent. So maybe they're going into an apartment, renting a house, whatever it may be. Is that demand for that product still going to be there? Which we don't know. We're just speculating.
Right.
Is it still going to be there 2 to 3 years from now?
Exactly.
Like when these new builds are done.
And how are they designing these newer multifamily? Are they going to be a little more open space? Are they going to add more amenities than they normally would have?
Yeah.
If you look at, and I know this is kind
Is it
of
like
out
the
there,
COVID coefficient that you have to put into things now?
Yeah.
If you look at universities and how they're designing their housing and how they're trying to get students in. Now, this was prior to COVID, but they were offering all kind of amenities for the housing at these universities to get people to go to their school. Indoor swimming pools and game rooms and spas and gyms inside of their freaking dorms.
Okay, well, can I take an aside on that one? That just shows you what is wrong with our education system,
That's the truth.
where these universities are setting on billions of dollars of endowment that they invest, and the government is insuring people's loans to go to school. And then they're going to school and picking the school by the indoor swimming pool, taking some course that the university touts as a great course, but there's no jobs out there for it. It
It
drives
doesn't
me
make
nuts.
sense at all.
Universities are great, if you want to have like a skilled profession that requires that.
Right.
But to do what Wendy, Bill, and I do, you don't need a degree.
That's right. You don't need no education at all.
Not that you shouldn't get one.
That's right.
But you don't need one.
That's right. You don't need a degree to do what you don't need a license. Well, you do need a license, but you don't need a degree to get what we're doing.
I interrupted you because that burns
you're,
me up.
You're right.
No, you're right.
Absolutely right.
Larry Goins used to say this all the time. I have a PhD. I have a public high school diploma.
That's right.
And he's done okay.
Yeah, he's done all right for himself. It's amazing. It is amazing that all of our younger generation is programmed to be able to go to university. That's exactly what they're just their whole life. Like my kids.
There's only one party that benefits from that.
That's right.
The university.
That's right. The university party.
Only they're not liable for any, you don't get a job, they're not liable for. You took some course that doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, right.
You're not liable for it, but you still have to pay that student loan. I was told to go to school.
Yeah.
So I got a dual bachelor degree in something that I don't even use now.
That's right. That's right.
And I had to pay the student loans.
Yeah.
So I got this great degree, and in return, I got to pay $800 a month for student loans.
That's right. And then how many times did I change my?
All right.
Go
ahead. No,
never mind. Go ahead.
I was going to say this is the last. We're going to talk about this because we have to get to the question.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
The for-profit universities are under all this scrutiny from lawmakers because, they say you're paying a for-profit university and you're not getting the job you promised. Well, do you think the major universities are not for profit, even though they're called nonprofit?
Yeah.
They're all
Somebody's profiting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
right?
Yeah.
Scary
Okay, so enough bloviating about this stuff.
Wow, big word.
Let's
Big word.
let's go to our ugly question. Okay, the good question today is investing in programs to learn about the business worth the money, and do you think it's necessary?
Mm.
So,
Maybe more so than universities. Anyway.
You know what?
Yeah.
Most definitely more so.
If we're talking about real
than
estate, in
universities.
which we are, investing in programs to learn real estate or real estate related programs or ideas, absolutely.
That's for sure. I can tell you that any of the masterminds that we're members of, they always give you the opportunity for your kids to sit in on it.
Mhm.
Your teenage and early 20 kids to sit in on it. It is the best education they'll ever get. It's real world investing.
Yeah.
And you can't, well, you can pay enough, but normally I would say you can't pay enough for an education like that. And it just takes you right to the heart of things. But I when we were talking about this question earlier, we were talking about really, it depends on where you are in the investing world.
Mhm.
How brand spanking new are you? And what your niche is. Are you going to wholesale? Are you going to fix and flip? You have to kind of figure out where you want to be. And before you can even learn all that, you really need to understand what's even out there. And you find that out by joining these, your local real estate investor association,
Yeah.
getting on biggerpockets.com and seeing what other people are doing. That kind of education is really, really inexpensive. And as you get more and more experienced in the real world, then you can figure out what you want to spend money on in learning a program or paying money on a big program. Because I've seen people spend over $100,000 easy on education stuff. And then when they try to, start getting into the field and getting loans, they don't qualify because they're so in debt from what they paid on the education. It's just crazy.
Bill, will you scroll down? It says we have new comments.
What's your thought, Jonathan?
I just want to see if there's a new comment before I moved on. Okay. Bill's not doing his scrolling job.
you should do it automatically.
Yeah.
We should be more automated.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thoughts on the education piece, or you can pick up, if you are new, I would not recommend going into these high level or high cost education. You need to start small and see if it's something even for you.
Mm-hmm.
Start with your local RIAs. Those are minimal costs. Then you could start with small masterminds or small educational groups or educational, or I guess educators who sell their who sell their stuff. But one of the biggest values that you can get from doing these education, I don't know what they're like,
seminars
or whatever, webinars, probably more webinars now, is the network that you can build.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these things, we've done and we paid $1,000, $5,000, whatever, but the connections that you can get from that can get your next deal done, or it can get you a connection to selling a loan or
a lender
or a lender out of it.
lenders.
So even if the education doesn't quite give you what you're looking for, sometimes the networking that you pick up from it gives you far more than the initial investment.
Absolutely. And I can say that every event I go to is number one, networking is the number one reason why we're there is to pick up And it's not just, we're not just looking for borrowers, and we're not just looking for lenders. We're looking for people that we can network with across the country.
Like-minded individuals.
Yeah, that can help us through problems, because we're going to step in the same piles of poop that everybody else does.
I mean, some of the people that we network with the most and we're in contact with the most, we don't even do deals or anything with them.
Mhm.
We just, they've had a problem, we've helped them think through it, and we've had a problem and they've helped us think
Right.
through it. But we wouldn't have known them if we hadn't gone to those things.
That's exactly right.
All right. So my 2 cents worth.
And that's all you get is 2 minutes.
And
And 2
when
cents.
I tell people that they need to join their local RIA group or their local meetup group, they're typically going to have national speakers involved in those throughout the year. The membership for those groups is fairly attractive, inexpensive.
Mhm.
I don't want to say cheap, because it is the least expensive education you can get.
Right.
It gives you a good broad range of what's available out there. Keep your wallet in your pocket
Mhm.
or at home
Mhm.
when you hear these great programs, because if you're like me and you have shiny object syndrome, this is the greatest program since sliced bread, and you're going to want to buy it. Well, just hang on to it, because it's still, I'm not saying programs aren't worth it. I think there are plenty of programs out there that are
Absolutely.
very worth it.
Mhm.
The thing you want to figure out is what's going to be a good fit for you in your current situation as it sits now.
Mhm.
And you can never go wrong with learning the real estate fundamentals. Those courses
Yep.
are always going to be in style, in vogue. Doesn't matter. Markets are going to change, but you still have to have real estate fundamentals down.
Mhm.
And I think knowing the note business is one of the biggest
Oh
fundamentals.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Big stuff.
But you still need to know how to negotiate. You still need to know which property types are going to be the most liquid, all that type of thing. And you're going to get a lot of that through your RIA groups. And then there are plenty of educators that still teach the fundamentals.
I'm not just looking through here. I'm getting
And
ready
by the
to
way,
get
our-
some
our
free
next-
stuff out.
Our next guest, Ron LeGrand, is one of those people that teaches stuff that is
Oh, look,
old school.
Here we are on
and
Facebook right now. Hey.
yes, we are.
That's funny.
He teaches these fundamentals that are never going to go out of style. By the way, before we get too late in the show, we're going to have to head out of here quickly. Don't forget that the Cash Flow Expo has started today, and you can still register if you haven't already through that link that's scrolling across the screen. We'll put that up in the chat box as well. If you missed some of it today, you should buy the ticket that allows you the recordings, because this is another opportunity to find out all the different aspects of real estate investing. This is a 3-day event. You're going to have people in all different sides of the real estate space speaking, and that gives you a good idea of what's out there and what may be a good fit for you. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I'm going to give out some free things that you guys need to sign up for. Free education. Just get on these sites. The first one is www.irarocketfuel.com. That's the Financial Friends Network. It's like getting on a Facebook. It's a Facebook page, but there's free recorded seminars on there that you can. It's a great group to network with. Free good stuff, awesome national speakers. You also want to get hooked up with Jim Ingersoll's real estate investor.
Jim does a weekly live stream as well.
Not just weekly. He's posting stuff every single day that gets you hooked up with other people who are really, really, really good at what they do.
That's probably why he doesn't have us on very often.
It's called the Real Estate Investor Network. The Real Estate Investor Network. So Google that. Get on his.
And then also
Facebook.
Sunrisers, your subgroup.
Oh yeah, it's free.
It's free. It's on. You said it's on Facebook.
You can go to you can get on the Sunrisers page on Facebook. It's SON Risers, because it is a faith-based group. We meet every Friday morning at 7:30 a.m. It's on Zoom, and we're on there for an hour. It's incredible. So there's a lot of good free education out there. And understand that if you get signed up with that cash flow Expo that's already started, when you pay, you're going to get the recording. So you'll be able to watch what you've missed already anyway.
And one of the things, getting in your RIAs, like networking with real live people, I guess,
Rather than dead people.
Yeah, well, rather than virtual.
That's right.
And I guess it can be virtual. I think more things are now, but develop that sounding board, those people who are your sounding board, because there's been so many times I think, I suffer, Bill suffers from shiny object. I suffer from, I have the greatest idea, it's,
And it's not.
and then you talk to people about the people that you trust and they're like, no, don't do that. And here's why. It's like, oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you got to poke holes and
so
stuff.
you need those people when you're getting into this, and even all the way through
Mhm.
to help you realize, well, yeah, that program, I did it 2 years ago, but wasn't quite what I expected. I didn't get much from it. Or that program, yes, you need to do that program because it will take you to the next level.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
just network and get people who are sounding boards.
Okay,
We're good.
we're ready to go.
Wrap her up.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Active Income Passive Wealth Show. Thank you, Sharu, for putting that up there because I was starting to stumble on it. We are Carolina Capital Management. We make loans in the Southeast. And if you're a borrower thinking about getting a loan, CarolinaHardMoney.com, click on the Apply Now tab. If you're a passive investor interested in passive returns, click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And there's a link to our next show with Ron LeGrand is coming up here momentarily. It was great seeing you.
One last
Okay.
thing, if you're looking for a property, I know of one for a fix and flip in Mooresville, North Carolina. So if you like that area, let me know.
Awesome.
That would be Jonathan
Jonathan
at
at
CarolinaHardMoney.com. Take care.